my Monday live. It is the beginning of the week, and everybody's coming on and saying good morning to me, and I say good morning to you. What a wonderful day it is today. Andy Woodward is on. Welcome, my friend. Good morning. For those of you who don't know, who might want to stay and watch this replay, if you're not going to be on the live and you're watching the replay later, my name's Patrick Franz. I am a professional investor and fund manager. And a while back, I decided while I was going to do my morning workout here in my garage gym, I'd come live and I would do some Q&A and give some financial knowledge, anything physical fitness or financial fitness. Good morning, Christian. Good morning, Christian. Welcome on. Welcome on. How was your game the weekend? Sore, stiff? I am sore, Andy. I am sore, man. Not from the golf much, not so much, but I played pickleball yesterday too. But we did get it was a couples tournament. I shouldn't say couples tournament. It was a team tournament. It wasn't a couple. It wasn't my wife, but a pair of us played in the tournament, and we took second place out of 40 teams. We took second place, and we won $160. Second place was still in the money, so that's pretty cool. But as I was saying, guys, if you're going to be new to this and if somebody's new and watching this, my name is Patrick Franz. I come live every morning, physical and financial fitness. Today, we're starting off Monday with our chest and push day because that's my favorite day. And so we start off the week with our favorite day, make ourselves happy, have a good, clean workout. And also what I was going to talk to you guys about today is the 10 common what I think are 10 common myths financially. So let's talk about 10 common financial myths today. Fair enough? Does that sound good to you guys? I thought that'd be a fun conversation because we can go back and forth all about these 10 financial myths that have been taught like the last 3 generations, right? Some of them are like cliche quotes and statements where, it'll ring a bell. You'll say, oh yeah, these things that we've learned financially over the past 2 generations, right? Some of the things we've been taught financially are just like myths. They're just not true, right? So I thought I would have a good time with you guys doing a push day or a chest day today, chest and shoulders, while we talk about these 10 common myths, these 10 common financial myths. Does that sound fair to you guys? Does that sound fair? Give me a thumbs up if you're all good with that. Let's talk about some financial myths. I thought it'd be fun for Monday. If you're just hopping on, this is Physical and Financial Fitness with Patrick. We're going to talk about the 10 financial myths today. 10 financial and wealth building myths that are all BS while we work on these chest and shoulders and triceps and things like that. Guys, Monday I like to start my day off doing exercises that make me happy. The fun stuff, right? I'm certainly not starting out Monday with leg day, let's just say. All right. A lot of people don't like leg day. I don't like leg day, but guys, I walk twice a week. I walk 18 holes and I play pickleball and I do a lot of different things for my core and my leg workout. Okay. But I don't like to just sit and do squats all day long, especially since I have a bad knee. And like I said, I played golf over the weekend, played pickleball over the weekend. It was a great weekend. Hopefully you guys all had a fantastic weekend. I do know that here in San Diego, where I live, the weather is supposed to be really, really good this week. It's supposed to be high 70s, low 80s, almost like summertime out here in San Diego. So we're super stoked on that. We're going to have a good week. And I like to start my week off with a workout that I enjoy doing, right? And that way, at least you get your week started in the right direction. Yeah, it was smoking yesterday, right? Yeah, Dexter was saying it was smoking yesterday, the weather. Oh, gosh, come on. It was like 70, what, Dexter? 72 and sunny, right? It was like 72 and sunny out here in San Diego. It was gorgeous. That's why I snuck off. I wasn't really going to play pickleball, but I snuck off to play some pickleball yesterday. So I'm a little sore, and my legs especially are pretty sore from pickleball. Who'd have thunk pickleball was so fun anyway? Oh, you came home yesterday. Cool, Dexter. We'll have to get together, dude. We'll have to get together and say what's up. And I might just incline these a tad today. Old Ronnie Coleman Uh, I think I'm going to incline these presses today. Let's actually do some incline like right about there. What do you say? Yeah, right there. I like that. We're going to do some incline shoulder presses, and we're going to talk about uh, these 10 financial myths, right? So if you're jumping on, Patrick Franz, I'm a professional full-time investor. I run an investment fund. I work out here in my garage gym. We call it the dungeon. I built a little tiny gym in my garage where I get it done in like this little tiny space. I don't have to leave the house, and I don't have to go to the gym. I don't like to pack a bag and drive to the gym. It's such a pain in the ass. And plus the people, man, gosh, people, for some reason, people bother me more so today than years past. So I don't like to be around a whole bunch of other people at the gym sharing equipment and trying to give the morning nuances. How are you? Good morning. I don't like all that stuff. So Dexter was introduced to pickleball back in 2015 at the Rec by a mature guy. You could say old. Never knew it would turn out the way it has. So Dex, you're in pickleball, dude. Let's play. Let's go play some pickleball. It's fun. But we're going to talk about the 10 financial myths today while we do the shoulder and the chest workout, right? So there's a couple reasons why you would join me on my lives in the morning. If you're new to this, my name is Patrick Franz. Physical and financial fitness is what I talk about here, right? So I like to motivate people to get in shape. If somebody wants to work out, lose weight, build muscle, you need a motivation. You need somebody to be reliant upon. I'm going to be here Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Giving some financial nuggets, but also working out, right? So if you're looking, for somebody to motivate you, help you, get you up, if this is early for you on the West Coast, but if you just simply want motivation to get in your best shape ever, no matter where you're starting from, no matter how old or no matter what your physical condition, I'd like to be able to motivate you and help you there, right? I was able to make a big shift in my physical fitness about 2 years ago, and it's really working out for the better. So I just want to hopefully motivate people to do things that maybe they have difficulty doing on their own, and they need some support with that. So if you want help to quit drinking alcohol, if you want help to just make sure you get up early every morning and you're motivated to get at your day, or if you want to get moving and you want to get physically fit, any of that, guys, hopefully I can be a motivation and help people out with that, just be in your best shape ever, no matter what age you are, or where you're starting from. I'm going to give you a hand with that. But on the other end of that, right, I'm just going to be here consistently for you working out every day because that's what I'm doing anyways. But I'm going to turn on this camera and I'm going to get with you guys to get real about some stuff financially. Because I think that there's a lot of parallels between physical fitness, taking care of your health, building fitness and building muscle and those kinds of things. I think there's a lot of parallels between that and building wealth and money. So, building your muscles, building your money, it's a lot of parallels. And so that's why I come on here. If you want to stay to the end and watch, you're welcome to. We're going to go over the 10 common myths financially that we've all heard that are a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. And so we're going to go over 10 common financial myths, but we're going to get a workout into same. So we're doing shoulders and chest and everything like that. Type 1 if that's all good. Type a 1 in the comments. Let me know my sound is good. My cam is good. We're going to get crack-a-lackin' here. Just getting my first sips of this wonderful coffee, and it is good, let me tell you. All righty. So welcome in, guys. I know we've got Dexter in here. We've got Cristiano, sorry. And it was Chris, right? Sorry, I forgot last time what you told me. Do it. Just call you Chris, right? Cristiano or Cristiano. Call you Chris, right? So we got Andy in, we got Dexter in, we got Chris in. Beautiful. Some people will jump in when they see me doing a bunch of stupid workout reps and all this. People jump, I was tripping, by the way. Let's just cover this, man. Oh my gosh. I said to my wife the other day, I said, have you seen YouTube Live? I'm like, maybe I'm doing this on the wrong platform. I'm like, maybe I need, fellow truck driver with you. That's right. Maybe I need to do this on a different platform. She's like, why? And I'm like, well, I'm actually trying to give really good educational, financial content. And I was scrolling through the YouTube Live section of everybody that was on YouTube Live the other day. And I was thinking, what the hell has happened to society? I was thinking, what has happened to society? What's going on with people? Right. And then I started to realize boy, it's sort of a reflection when you get on these live feeds in the social media live feeds. Um, Either Christian or Chris. All right, cool. Well, we'll go. I like Christian. Uh, so crazy, right? I was looking through all the live feeds, and I'm like, dude, what a representation of how degenerative society really is now at this moment. I'm like, oh my god, oh boy. So, anyways, when I was going to come on here, and be live every morning, giving like financial intelligence, right, and teach people about wealth building and things like that. Roddy, what's up, dude? Took the words out of your mouth, right? I was like, wait a minute, man. So I was like, dude, maybe I'm doing this on the wrong platform. I don't know. You guys tell me, but maybe I'm doing this on the wrong platform, man. I want to really attract a good, steady audience of people that really want to talk back and forth about building wealth and finances. If they want to work out and get in better shape, sure, that's what I'm doing while I'm talking with you guys in the mornings here. But yeah, I really want to help people with financial intelligence. I really want to help people that want to build wealth and want to build passive cash flow, really want to set themselves free financially. And that's what I want to be able to offer here. So I was like looking at the lives, scrolling through people's lives on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, right? What are people even doing anymore these days? Holy moly. Rod said I took the words right out of his mouth, but the degeneration of society and the fact that people have all this time to go live, that's what trips me out. People have all this time to go live and take the effort to go live. They've got, obviously, like me, their phone out and they've got to push the record button and all that, right? But what are they going live for? They're going, I was kind of weirded out by it. But anyway, I'm like, dude, so maybe this is the wrong platform, but I don't care, guys. Over some time with some consistency, hopefully people will start to recognize that I'm actually here to give some good nuggets and some content to folks about financial intelligence. But without further ado, guys, let's get into this. It's super funny, right? So I think there's probably like these 10 common myths, and there's 10 common myths that happen to do with building wealth and, becoming more wealthy and financially free. There's things that we were told and things that we were taught that maybe we can banter back and forth a little bit here about today. And we can talk about why maybe they weren't such, these instructions by our elders on what we should do if we want to be financially free or rich someday. And they told us you should do this. And one of those things is save money, right? So we're going to start there. the save for a rainy day. Yes, Dexter said it starts at the top, brain, mindset. He had to unravel a lot of programming. Boy, isn't that true, man? So we're going to unravel. That's what we're going to do today, which I think will be fun. Dex, you'll like today then. You'll like today. You'll be my ace participant. But let's talk about that, guys. I did cover this in one of my lives, like last week or the week before. I remember going over this subject, but let's dive in. Save your money. Save money. Like save money in a savings account. Like take $5,000 cash and store it in your gun safe, right? In an envelope. So save for a rainy day. Not going to dog the elders of our lives and that were teaching us these lessons. It wasn't their fault. They thought these were the best ways to protect us and teach us good lessons. They just got taught wrong. So you don't know what you don't know. So let's talk about why is it not really good, sound financial advice if you're trying to build wealth, if you're trying to become financially free and build some real wealth. Why is it not financially sound advice to save money, to just save money? Take dollar bills, 5,000 of them, put them in an envelope, put them in your safe, bury them in the backyard, wherever you want to save the money. But why was that not the greatest sound advice to building wealth and financial freedom? This save your money for a rainy day theory. You tell me in the chat. I'm curious. No interest. No interest. Chris says no interest. Yes, no interest. Your money's not doing anything. It's just sitting there, stagnant, not earning any profit. So the money's not doing anything. Okay, that's one reason it doesn't earn any interest. There's no profit being made by that dollar bill. So the dollars aren't working. That's one reason. You're supposed to be able to put dollars to work for you. Dollars in a savings account are on the bench. Do you know what I mean? They're not playing the game. They're on the bench. They're just sitting on the bench, okay? Sitting on the sideline. What's another reason why saving dollar bills has been a financial myth? One more. Let's go. One more reason why. Yes, there's no interest, okay? Who can think of another reason? One reason why saving money is a common financial myth is, number one, it doesn't work for you. Money is supposed to work. Money is supposed to earn interest. If money sits stagnant, like in a savings account or in an envelope in the gun safe, it doesn't earn anything for you. Put me in, coach. That's what I'm trying to do here, guys. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get people in the game when I'm here live on YouTube in the mornings. Get people in the game. It's physical and financial fitness with Patrick. We're only working out together, but we're talking how to get wealthy. We're talking how to create more passive cash flow. We're trying to become financially free, right, guys? Freedom's what people want with the money. Somebody was trying to challenge me on how rich I am. You know, how rich are you? How rich am I? And challenging me on one of these lives. And I said, I'm wealthy. Yeah, you don't look wealthy. Well, what does wealthy look like? What does wealthy look like? Wealthy to me is being free, where I don't have to wake up and go to work anymore. And I get to spend time with my family, and I get to go play golf, and I get to spend time with my kids, and I get to be happy, and I get to not be stressed out about monthly bills. To me, that's rich. That's wealthy. That's freedom. Anything on top of that's bonus. So it's just, you know, how wealthy do you want to become? How fancy of things do you want to have? But wealth to me is in real, true financial freedom. Dexter would tell you the same thing. Dexter just wants to be free enough financially where he could go spend time with his grandson and hang out with it, you know, and do what he wants to do in life. Not have to go to work all the time. That's wealth to me. Wealth is freedom. And most people want money for freedom. You know, if you're one of those that just wants money so you can have a Lamborghini, you probably won't get the money. The universe doesn't want to bless you with that responsibility of that money because they know you're just going to go blow it. Okay? You're not going to do anything good with it. Okay? So anyways, that's my take on wealth. But what's the other reason why it's bad, right? Since we're going to go over 10 common financial myths today, number one is save money. The reason why it's a myth is because it doesn't earn any interest. That's number one. Go to lunch every day with each of my grandchilds. Yes, dude, that's what we need you to, that's where we need to get you quickly, Dexter. We've been waiting too long, hanging out together too long, you being my friend for too long for us not to have got you there by now. So maybe we just need to refocus on that again and get serious about it this time. So the other reason, guys, is this. There's something that is invisible that we don't see. This is why the illusion of saving money was a good, I guess it was good advice back when, right? Because they came from an era of after the war, there was poverty. The Great Depression and war created angst, anxiety, and poverty, feeling of no control, and people being financially scared about life. And so they were creating financial security and stability. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Let's go. Chris is on it today. All right. So the money earns you no interest. And as Chris just mentioned in the comments, number two is there is inflation. It's invisible decay of the amount of money you have in your savings account. That's the problem too. So if you look at since the let's go back to, oh gosh, at least let's go back to the 1930s, okay? So we go back to the 1930s. From the 1930s till today, the United States dollar has lost 97% of its spending power. I want you to take that into consideration, man. Let's pause there for a second. That's a head scratcher. The United States dollar has lost 97% of its spending power in that amount of time. So if you're just coming on, we're talking about 10 financial myths, right? 10 financial myths that were kind of BS and don't really get you rich, okay? But they're very common, okay? One of them is to save money, and that is to save money, by burying it in the backyard, putting it in the gun safe or whatever. You're actually taking money and saving it, okay? So Chris was really, really on it today, and Chris said in the comments here, number one, it's a bad thing because it doesn't earn you any interest. True. The second one, Chris nailed it, was that inflation is invisible taxation. And so with the level of inflation we've had with the United States dollar, say in the last 100 years, it's lost 97% of its spending power. That's pretty wild, guys. Do you agree? 97% of its spending power? So what, wow. Anyways, so guys, it's just saying that if you would have kept $5,000 bills saved in a safe or buried in the backyard over the last how many years, that $5,000 would not buy nearly as much goods and services in the marketplace. And so number one, you had the money sitting stagnant. It wasn't earning any interest. And number two, inflation is invisible taxation because it inflates away the spending power of those dollar bills as they sit. So when you go to get it back out, the problem with the illusion of it is when you go to get the money back out and you take the withdrawal out of the bank, the $5,000 is still there. So in your mind, you didn't lose any money, right? You put $5,000 in and you got $5,000 out. So I told you so. It was a safe play, right? This is what our parents and grandparents taught us. But the bottom line is inflation was invisibly gouging out the value of those dollars. And when you take that $5,000 out, sure, it's $5,000 still, but the $5,000 buys way less stuff in the marketplace, guys. So do we agree? Do we agree? And thank you, Chris. Your participation is spot on this morning. Do we agree that saving money was taught to us as a wise, oh my gosh. Hang on, my cameraman's going out of control today. So saving money was taught to us as a really wise thing to do, right? And I'm not saying having a little bit of cash reserve somewhere that you can snag on real quick because you have life emergencies. I'm not saying that's bad. Don't get me wrong, okay? Emergency fund, having a little bit of something, emergency fund that you need in case you got to get out of town real quick or whatever. This is always sound advice. But anything more than just a little bit of emergency fund, right? Which these days should be a couple $1,000s in general to people, if that. But enough to get you out of town, enough to pay for gas, enough to bug out, so to speak, okay? Enough to do that, all right? What's up, NJ? Good morning. Good to see you. We're talking about 10 most common financial myths today. And the first one we're talking about is saving money, just saving money. Okay, well, it doesn't earn any interest and it gets invisibly eaten away at by inflation. So it's the illusion of saving money. You don't lose anything because you put $5,000 in the savings account and 2 years later you get $5,000 out. Well, it's the same $5,000 in, $5,000 out. You're saying, see, I told you so. I didn't lose anything. But over the years, each year that goes by, that $5,000 has less spending power in the marketplace. So when you do remove the money out of the account and you go out there to the marketplace to spend it, you can't buy as much stuff. So it's invisible taxation, invisible loss of dollar value, okay? Yeah, how many, I like it, Dexter. Yeah, simple analogies, right? How many candy bars can you buy with $1 now versus back in the 80s? Yeah, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. I mean, come on, dude. We went to the grocery store the other day, or I shouldn't say we. Wifey went to the grocery store to get groceries for us and made a post on her social media, and she took a picture of the grocery bags and what was purchased, what she bought at the grocery store. And her post was like, how in the hell could this little amount of stuff that I bought cost me $100? She bought like a few little items at the grocery store, cost her $100. And she was astonished, right? Well, that's the facts, Jack. So as we continue, and by the way, guys, as we continue forward in the next 3 years, inflation is only going to get worse. They're going to create hyperinflation because they're planning on printing more dollar bills, okay? And I forget the number, guys, but like this is a crazy thing to think about, okay? This is a crazy thing to, and I don't know if this is the exact number. Somebody could look it up and fix my quote here. But just since COVID through 2021 through 2024, okay? 2021 through 2024, 30%, think about this, 30% of the money, the cash, the dollar bills, 30% of the dollar bills that are in circulation were created between 2021 and 2024. From the last 100 years. Think about that. Think about that. Just think about that. That's wild. So out of all the dollar bills in circulation, out of all the United States dollar currency in circulation, 30%, and somebody fix my quote if I'm wrong, 30% of the amount of money in circulation over the last 100 years was printed and put into the system over the past 4 years during COVID, 2021 through 2024. That's a crazy thing to think about. All right. So yes, we went there. We said that for the number one common myth that we were taught was a really, really good idea was to save money. And it just isn't. That money that's saved doesn't earn you any interest, so the money's not working for you, and the money that's sitting there is just getting eaten away. Its value is being stolen, invisible taxation by inflation. Wow. So Chris was on it today and nailed it perfectly. Why is it that actually just sitting there and saving money, putting dollar bills and burying them in the yard, taking your jar of pennies, dollar bills, and just saving them in the gun safe, not really sound financial advice if you're trying to build real wealth? Boom. Love it. Okay, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Andy. Dexter says, yep, you can carry $100 worth of groceries in 2 hands. So yes, I apologize, Andy. That's why I always want my fact checkers to make sure I'm not bullshitting you. So I want fact checkers on here. Andy, my number one fact checker. Thank you, sir. Check if I'm bullshitting you. No. From 2021 to 2024, 26% of the cash that's in circulation in the world, United States currency. It's crazy. 26.9% of the United States fiat currency that's in circulation has been created and put into the system just from 21 to 24. This is from the 30s, guys. So all the way from the 30s to now. So in the last 100 years, 27% of the money in circulation was printed and put into the system in the last, from 2021 to 2024. That's nuts. That's nuts. People wonder why things are inflating. Why are things inflating? Because you've got your United States government that has a fiat currency monopoly money that they have free reign to print and put into circulation as much as they want. It's an unlimited supply of paper monopoly money. So the more they print, the more they put it in there, the more they pump into the marketplace, the less spending power each of our dollars has. So let's just say, guys, can we all agree? Myth number one, saving money. It's a myth. Over and outside your emergency fund, guys, which should be no more than a couple $1,000s, that can be at the ready, right? You could grab it, put it in your pocket, get in the car and leave. Like, okay, bug out money. Yeah, have a little bit, but not a lot. And know that when you're sitting on that money over the year or 2 or 3 or whatever, that it's lost a lot of its ability to buy you stuff. Okay. So better to have that money working. And of course, then you would say, and I know Chris may agree with this. Chris, maybe you want to have your money at least working somewhere that's earning enough interest that would actually keep up with inflation. Might be an okay idea. All right. So let's get the 4th set of these light incline shoulder presses done, where I was just kind of getting my shoulders and my chest warmed up. My bad shoulder that needed surgery about 1.5 years ago that I just worked through. I like to get all of that kind of warmed up and going in the morning because I'm usually straight out of bed and into this gym in the mornings, and I don't want to pull nothing. I don't want to be in for another surgery. I don't know about you. All right. So I'm going to rack these weights, and we're going to get on to second exercise. Let's talk about myth number 2. All right. And I think I'm just going to readjust my camera because this little camera follow device ain't cutting it today. So we're going to get you guys manual. All right. There you go. Bingo. That'll be better. Yep. Money in motion. Let's go. Speaking of which, and it's funny, they on YouTube Live, they don't let you unmirror. I don't think I can unmirror the camera settings. I think I've looked at that before. So it's got to be backwards like this with my writing anyway. But that's why I represent the cash flow. That's why I wear the cash flow hat oftentimes, because it is the truth. Cash needs to flow. There needs to be movement. Movement of money is how it works. Question, what happens to water when it sits still? It's a good question, right? Since we're talking about cash flow, water flow, right? River banks, banks, cash flow, like water. Okay. Why is it referred to like that? Why is it cash flow? Let's see here. Let's do these. Because you're right. If it sits stagnant, if water sits stagnant in a puddle, what happens to the water? Tell me in the comments. If water sits still in a puddle, what happens to the water? Water starts vaporizing. Evaporating. Oh, so guys, don't you see? This is just, that's why they call them banks, and that's why they call it cash flow. Starts to become useless. Guys, doesn't it get, when water sits, doesn't it get bacteria? Doesn't it get bacteria and stuff starts to poison the water, right? Mold and bacteria and all that stuff. Sitting pool of water. And also, as Chris said, because Chris is on it today, it starts to evaporate. If it's just sitting there, it starts to evaporate. Don't you see that if your money is just sitting in a savings account at the bank, yeah, it grows frogs, lily pads. If your money's just sitting in the bank and it's sitting still, it's just a puddle. And that puddle, it doesn't do any good. In fact, sometimes it evaporates. And so that invisible taxation by inflation is that evaporation that you don't see. You actually don't see the evaporation. To you, it looks like there's just the same amount of water sitting in the pond, but not. Okay? Let's do these forward raises. I like to do these forward raises. Or actually, you know what? I'm gonna go down first, and then we're gonna go up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these pulleys, and we're gonna go. We have the pulleys up high, and we're gonna bring those things from a higher standpoint, and we're gonna push them down this way. So we're gonna be doing some chest on the cables here, and then what I'm gonna do is just switch. You'll see I'll switch those pulleys to being lower, and we'll pull them up. So we're going to do two different chest exercises on the pulleys today. Myth number 2. We all agreed. You guys, I'm glad you guys are with me this morning. You guys are spot on in the chat, by the way. Spot on in the chat. We just don't want to save money. Myth number 1. It don't work. Okay? The cash ain't flowing, and inflation is eating it to death and making it nasty. So you don't want your money sitting in a puddle. Number 2. How about this one that sometimes is such an unpopular statement here when I say that a house, a personal home, a house is not an asset. A house is not a good investment. And boy, sometimes do I get some negative feedback when I say something like that, don't I? Why do you think people would be negative or combative a little bit? Maybe have a big difference of opinion there. When I say a house, a single family home, usually meaning the one you live in, a home is not a good investment. Why is that? It's agreed. Dexter says he agrees. Why is a home a bad investment? They don't know any better. Who doesn't know any better, Dex? I'm asking them, why is a home a bad investment? Does anybody know why? Or how about this? Does anybody think I'm being dumb here? Is anybody like, what is Patrick talking about? A home's a great investment. Why would I say a home is a bad investment? All right, that's enough of those. Woo! All right, shoulders feeling good. Got to stretch it out. Liability, that's the word. Beautiful job. Beautiful job, Dex. Liability. Because, guys, good investments are called assets. Okay? And if you guys go and want to look it up, if you're not there already and you guys want to go and look it up, go look up the big difference between a liability and an asset. But I can simplify some stuff for you guys. And one is that a liability costs you time and money. That's why it's a liability. It costs you time and money. Okay? And an asset should then do the opposite. an asset should save you time and money, right? So an asset saves you time and money, and a liability, excuse me, an asset saves you time and money, and a liability costs you time and money. So if you're just hopping on, we're talking about the 10 most common financial myths. Depends on what kind of house. Well, true. We were talking about a personal home, though, G Wood. We're talking about a personal home, one that you live in, pay a mortgage payment on, you pay the property taxes on it, you're in charge of the maintenance, you have all the liability of the property, and it's really for your own shelter, right? So we're talking about your own shelter or your own personal home being a liability, and all right, your own personal home being a liability. But of course, investment properties, not. Yes, G Wood. If it's a multi-unit home property, has less liability, more asset. Yeah. So if you're house hacking, right? But most of us guys, can we be fair that most of us don't want to buy a 3-plex or a 4-plex and live in one of those little units and rent out the other 3? And that could be at the very beginning of someone's investing career, right? Instead of buying your first home, before you buy your first home, buy a triplex and live in one side, right? It's that house hacking system is great. But of course, like I got family and 2 kids and all this stuff, and living a one wall away from another family and having to share driveways and stuff, it's not what we necessarily want. Okay, so we look at a home. Some people have been taught, right? And like Dexter says, we've been taught. So some people have been taught that a home is your best investment, and a home is one of your biggest liabilities. You're in charge of it. You have to maintain it. House maintenance is more than people think. I mean, termite problems and the fascia boards and exterior wood needing painting every couple of years, and, stucco eroding away and having problems. Everything, guys. So the liability and the expense doesn't make you any money. It does cost you time and money, but everybody needs a place to live. So we're talking about your own shelter, right? So a lot of the wealthy people that you're going to run into, guys, you're going to see have gone opposite of that. It's opposite of the norm or way of thinking. That's why I'm talking about today the 10 common financial myths. I'm not talking about 10 crazy financial myths that, we were sold. I'm talking about 10 really common things that seem like normal knowledge that are just myths that are not going to get us rich or wealthy. And 10 financial myths. 1 was don't save your money. And 2 was the house that you live in is a liability. It's not an asset. Okay? G Wood said, what supplements do I take? I'm completely natural, my friend. I drink AG1. It's not a supplement. I drink AG1, and I guess creatine. Creatine is the one supplement I do take. I put creatine in my AG1, and I drink that right after my workouts. And I just try to stick to a lot of protein. So I do like to take a lot of protein in throughout my day with natural form. So I'm eating red meats and fish and things like that throughout my day. But all natural. I don't have TRT. I don't do any steroids. I don't do any needles. I don't do any pills, nothing. I just eat a lot of protein. And I take my AG1 with creatine after my workouts. And I do have protein, right? I mean, I drink protein shakes and stuff to supplement, but that's pretty much it. Any pre-workout? Yes, I do. This is my pre-workout. I'll show you. My pre-workout is black coffee. That's my pre-workout, black coffee. Now, what I do, guys, is that since I work out in the mornings here, right after I wake up, of course, another thing is people don't realize how dehydrated we get while we sleep. Our body's doing a lot of recovery while we sleep and goes through a lot of your water content. So in the mornings, we wake up automatically dehydrated. So the first thing I do in the morning, guys, is I drink 12 ounces of water with 1 scoop of Celtic sea salt in it. Hell yeah. That's hella good, though. Thank you, NJ. Yes, my black coffee. Let's go. Old school. No, you know what, guys? I've tried all the pre-workouts that you buy like at the GNC and stuff like that. I've tried like 5 different pre-workouts. From the super strong crap, which almost made me have a heart attack. I was like, how do people even do this? Down to levels, down to like an all-natural pre-workout. And still, guys, I get the jitters. It just doesn't make me feel right. I don't like it. It's too much of a spike too quickly. Those kinds of things. So I've just kind of veered away from actual pre-workouts. I do my 12 ounces of water with a scoop of Celtic sea salt in the mornings, and I pound that down when I wake up. That gets me back to rehydrated, replenishes my body with those electrolytes, sodium that it needs. Then I go and I pour my coffee here, walk out in the garage, and get chatting with you guys. Bethany said, I have too much natural energy. I don't need anything else. That's a good point. Good point, Bethany. Touche. Touche. Definitely. Have enough natural energy. But that's cool, man. Listen, we're all on our own journeys, right? Do you guys, I know that my friend, one of my buddies got on testosterone replacement therapy because he went and got his blood tested at the doctor, and they told him that his testosterone was really, really low, like 200 or something like that. And he got on testosterone replacement therapy, and it was a total game changer for him. But all of our bodies are unique. And so getting your own blood tested, which I did, my beautiful wife made me do it, but I got my blood tested, which I did and that. And so like understanding your body, not what everybody else is doing, but what your body needs and what it would react to and what you'd benefit from personally is where you go with that. My testosterone was already at 800. G-Wood, I see the CLS in the mirror. It used to be my favorite car I had in 2009, 550. Not enough room for me. Yes, so that's the funny story about that car. Back then, it was one of my favorite cars too. And I live in San Diego. And so I used to see like the NFL, the Chargers players, like the NFL players and stuff, driving around in the brand new CLS 550. And it was back then to me, 2009-ish. And I thought that is the coolest car. And then Mercedes-Benz started creating them with like super bubbly wheel wells and making them look all bubbly in that, and not as sleek. And then I started not to like them anymore. So what I did, a while back, G-Wood, is I said, I've always wanted that car. And what I did is I took a long time searching, and I waited. And I found one that was taken care of by an elderly gentleman, garaged, maintained at the Mercedes-Benz dealership, and driven 4,000 miles a year since it was brand new. And I bought it cash for next to nothing, in my opinion. And I love it. I love it. You know, it's funny when people don't know much about Mercedes-Benz, as nice as the one I have is, and as well taken care of as it was, people think that it's a newer Mercedes. People don't think it is the year that it is, but I love it, man. It's fast. I'm a small guy, and I have a Suburban, by the way, guys. I have a new Suburban. We have a new Suburban, and that's the family car. We drive that around. Of course, we've got kids and gear and stuff like that. It is kind of small. So the Mercedes is for me and my golf clubs generally. And what's crazy is I only drive it 2,500 miles a year, and it's garaged again. So anyway, but back to this, guys. A house is a liability, not an asset. So what most wealthy people will do, and you're going to start hearing this a lot more, guys, but what you'll see most wealthy people doing is you'll see most wealthy people renting the house they live in. Renting the house they live in. Buying other real estate and other investments, and having their investments be able to pay the rent. So a lot of times you're going to hear this being a growing theory here. Wealthy are already doing this. But renting where you live and owning where other people live is the way to go about it. All right. So we've done some incline benches, which just warmed up the chest, warmed up the shoulders, got a good little pump going on already. Upper body, chest, and shoulders. We did some incline dumbbell presses. And now, as you've seen, we've just done some high to low, what we would call basically cable flies. We did some high to low cable flies. So we're getting going with our workout here this morning. And we're having some really good participation. Bethany says she loves the Suburban. Yes, we love it. The kids love it. We don't like it when it's time to park it somewhere. It's a big old beast, but other than that, it's a beautiful ride. So anyways, back to it, guys. Number three, just go ahead and max contribute to a 401k. Just put as much money while you're working and while you're at your career, just pack as much as you can afford to put in to that 401k. And if you just completely, fully contribute your ass off over many years to that 401k, you're going to be perfectly fine, man. You're going to retire wealthy. You're going to live a great life. Does anybody know why that's a bit of a myth? Tell me why that's a myth that we've been taught. Contribute fully to a 401k. Contribute to a 401k. Just put all your money in there. Hell, the company's even going to match you some. It's such a great thing. Put your money over there in that 401k. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to retire wealthy and you're going to be financially free. Why might that be a bit of a myth? Oh, yeah, because they trap your money. Dexter's saying they trap your money and they tell you what you can and cannot do with it. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Now we're going low to high, guys, and I'm probably going to whack my camera. I got to move this back a little bit for these ones. So low to high cable flies. We did dumbbell shoulder presses incline. We did high to low flies on the cables, and now we're going to go low to high, which is going to really start to work the upper chest and center chest. If you guys have been listening to me, my upper chest here and my center chest line and my upper chest is my goal to build a bigger, fuller chest this year. And also I'm trying to get rid of this stuff and let that six pack show up a little bit too. So my goals are bigger chest, nicer abs this year. And we'll see if we can make that progression together because I got too many muffins and cookies still on top of these abs of mine. 401k, the same as an IRA. I should probably know this. Yeah, you should probably know this, Bethany. No, a 401k is not the same as an IRA. They're very similar, but what you may say is 401ks are most often, usually people get into 401ks because of the company they're working for. The company they're working for has a 401k plan, and the company will match to a certain amount of how much you put in there per paycheck. And that's usually what a 401k is. An IRA has different facets to it. There's several different kinds of IRAs. But in this case, we want to talk more so about like a self-directed Roth IRA if we were going to do that comparison. I wasn't heading that direction, but like with a self-directed Roth IRA, along Dexter's point, with a self-directed Roth IRA, the retirement funds that you're putting and storing into that IRA account is under your control, self-directed. It means you, if you have some financial intelligence, can invest your retirement money into alternative assets that require not as much diversification and have much higher return potential. What we look at in a normal 401k situation, which will end up being another point to this, is that Dexter said they trap your money. Dexter said they trap your money and they restrict what you can do with it. So that is definitely can be a blocker to building real wealth because the key to a good IRA is what? Great diversification, which I think I'm going to talk about here. Yeah. I think I'm going to talk about that, which is the 8th most common myth, and we're going to bleed into that. But so the 401k, you don't have control of it. It's usually diversified across the stock market heavily, and diversification usually they say is the cure. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, which it's not. So this could be a myth, guys, a myth. And most people that retire at age 65 that have been contributing for years to a 401k, most retiree, well, let's put it this way. More than 50% of people who retire at 65 years old have less than 100 grand. Think of that. Think of that. And it's like, I think less than 3 to 5% of retirees have $1 million or more when they retire. And if you put $1 million to work at 5% interest, guys, it earns you 50 grand a year. 50 grand a year is hard to live off of. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, digress off that. But that could be a common myth because understanding financial intelligence and being able to have control over your own retirement accounts, investing into things that create a higher than average return can actually allow you to retire with a lot more money when you reach 65. Stock market is like a roller coaster, free fall. You never know what you're going to get. This is the truth, guys. And the markets have been being destroyed. All right. So that could be a common myth, guys, is just putting all your money and stashing all your extra into your 401k is going to set you free and you're going to be fine. Common myth. as Dexter's saying, markets go up and down, up and down, up and down. And so when markets are up, everybody's happy. Markets are down, everybody's sad. Do you know when? No. And so how are we going to be able to time that once we hit age 65 and we're ready to have this great life, that we're hoping that happens to be at one of the times the market's on the up side? What if it's on the down side? You see what I'm saying? So anyway, storing your money in a 401k and thinking that that's going to get you a fantastic retirement could be a bit of a myth. And I know we had some agreements on that. It's a bit of a myth. I'm not saying it's a horrible thing. It's better than not having a 401k. It's better than not having an investment account. It's better than not having a retirement account, of course. But we may say that if we had some intelligence, that we might be able to do, let me put this over here. We might be able to do something better and smarter with our money that can actually allow us to have some freedom when we retire. Fair enough. All right, guys. So 10 common myths to building wealth. 1, saving money, no good. 2, owning a house is a great investment. Common myth, bad, it's a liability. And number 3, just go ahead and contribute all you can over the years to your 401k. You're going to retire fat and you're going to live a great life and be financially free. Myth. And we just bled into this, actually, what a perfect conversation to bleed into, which is the common myth of the market always goes up. The markets always go up over time. If you just stay in for so many years, you're going to be looking mighty nice. Now, is there some truth to that? When we look at the S&P 500, and we look at the S&P 500 on average, over the past 20 years, on average, has returned about 9%. 9% per year returns in the S&P 500. But, as we mentioned, do markets always just go up in a straight line? Or is there volatility? Is there cycles? Do markets go way, 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 way down and crash oftentimes? Certain. So it's a numerical probability by way of systematic approach that markets will crash. Markets just don't go up in a straight line. They're volatile. So that could be a common myth, guys, of building wealth, which is that market always goes up over time, sure. But on these 10, 15, 20-year cycles where there's major crashes, stock market and cryptocurrency market, right now with the way that the fiat currency is going to be exploded, hyperinflation is about to happen, market's going to be pumped with liquidity, the interest rates are going to be brought down to a new low again, making free money for everybody. Everybody's going to feel rich temporarily. Everybody's going to feel good and rich temporarily. But it creates hyperinflation and issues and separates the rich from the middle class even further. So the market don't always go up, guys. And we have to understand by timing is we just don't know when we need the money. We have a life emergency and we need the money, or when we finally get old enough to actually retire. And we're like, well, the time is now. Life's going to be good. And we go and we look at our account at that time, and it happens to be one of the 20, 30-year cycle crashes where the stock market and everything just took a fat dump and you lost 50% of your wealth over the course of just a few months' time. And you spent 20 years building this and you're ready to retire, and just happens to be at that time, there's a huge stock market crash. Something happens in the world or the economy. All of a sudden, your retirement account gets cut in half. And that's when you want to retire. So, oops. Unfortunately, timing's just bad for you. God damn it, can you believe that? So you don't have any control. IRAP, you have a lot of wealth overseas. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, and you may agree with me then, the market's always going up, and you being able to rely on their up when the timing is right for you is a scary situation, guys. That just means you have no idea and no control over how well you're going to be, how well off you're going to be financially when you retire. You do not have a clue. You're just guessing and hoping, and hope's not a good plan. Oh, these are getting hard now. Okay, all right. Woo. All right, another financial plan. Getting nice and warm in here. We're going to open this up and shed some light on the subject. And we're going to get some nice breeze in here. Whoa, and some good lighting, I guess. Wow, that's bright. That's right. And tell me, IRAP, IRAP, what do you got? What is your wealth stored in overseas? Just curious, so you can let everybody know. IRAP says he's got a lot of wealth overseas. That's awesome. Tell us how. Where is it at? What's it invested in? Is it family money? What's going on? Give us the story, brother. Type them fingers out. The next one, guys, is buying and holding forever. That's another myth, guys, in building wealth. Buying and holding forever. Well, could it be a good plan, a safety plan? Sure. Is it a very good wealth building plan? Not so much. And we're going to go over why right now as I do this last set. But you've heard the buy and hold people, right? Just buy whatever it is and just hold it for the next 30 years and you'll be doing good financially. So I'm not saying this is a horrible plan like we were taught of, saving money in a savings account. It's not like that. This is better, but at least you're investing, right? But buying something and holding it for the next 30 years and hoping that it reaches a such price point that it does set you free. One of the things is, guys, that we said markets don't go up and down in a straight line. There's these jagged lines on the way up. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. Cyclically, there's cycles to it. And so what we just have to make sure we do, guys, is stay disciplined and keep our eye on the markets so that we understand, guys, that there's a time and a need to pull profits. Okay, IRAP, then don't disclose. All good, baby. So there's a time to pull profits, guys. Okay, because as things fluctuate and go up and down, when things go up, and they call it a bull run in the markets, right? When things go up unexpectedly, when things go up drastically, do we have the stoic maturity to sell some of that and pull profit out? Pulling profits is key because profits can be de-risked, and profits can create cash flow, which creates financial freedom. Freedom comes from the cash flow. Freedom doesn't come from having $1 million sitting in a bank account. That's not financial freedom. Most people blow through that $1 million very quickly. We've heard of the I won the lottery stories. People win the lottery and are back to broke in 2 or 3 years, already blew through $5 million, okay? It's no financial intelligence, and people are not investing into assets that create cash flow. When we invest in assets that create cash flow, the cash flow is what sets us financially free, okay? So if we pull profits out of a very profitable stock investment or crypto investment, when things bump up wild and you see your portfolio grow like crazy, we can't just look at those profits on paper and be like, egotistical about it. Yep, my Bitcoin's up. Have you seen it? Bitcoin's way up. Haha. And then it goes back down again. And you lost all that potential money you could have pulled out of there called profits. You could have pulled profits and you could have de-risked. And when I say de-risk, when the market goes up, market usually comes down. When the market goes up, usually comes back down. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, if we went up, and you pulled out some profits and took that money and didn't keep it stuck to that market where you can just watch it drop back down to zero again. If you took the profits and you put it into a different investment that would start producing you cash flow, then you still have your portfolio over here that can grow with the next bull run. You've pulled the cash out, which is the profits you've taken from your good investment decision, and you've put that into cash flow. The cash flow that's coming in, if you don't need that to live off of, you can dollar cost average that cash flow monthly back into the riskier asset, but you're protecting principal. So to protect principal and to create monthly cash flow is what creates freedom. So don't just buy something and just hold it for the next 30 years because there's a lot of time within that 30 years that you could utilize profits and leverage to 10x the speed in which you grow your wealth and to become financially free much, much faster. Because again, guys, it's not how much money you have in your stock portfolio that creates financial freedom, okay? It's the monthly cash flow that's being produced for you to live off of that creates financial freedom. Yeah, Bitcoin. When Dexter's Bitcoin went up, he sold it. Now look at it. Yep. Now it's the time to take that money that you probably spent already. That's another problem, guys. We're talking about our investment dollars here. So when you pull profits, when Bitcoin goes way up and you pull profits, now you got this money in your hands. If you sit on that money for long enough, you're either going to spend it or it'll be eroded away with inflation, as we described earlier in this video. So hopefully, Dex, you sold the Bitcoin when it was up. You got all this money. Now, hopefully you've been sitting on that money and waiting like a Warren Buffett, waiting for there to be blood in the streets. And then when there's blood in the streets,
go buy Bitcoin again. So if Bitcoin went up to 100 grand and Dexter sold it, Dexter sold his Bitcoin when it was all 100 grand. He got the money out, pulled those profits, okay? Hopefully he's been sitting on them, didn't spend them. And now Bitcoin drops down to 55 grand, 60 grand again. Blood in the streets, fear in retail, everybody running, the sky is falling, it's all red. That's the time to put that money that you had from your sales of Bitcoin when it was at 100 grand, take all that money, put it right back into Bitcoin right now at 65 grand or 60 grand, okay? Run that son of a bitch back up to 100, 120, do it again. And as Bitcoin climbs up, Bitcoin will someday, guys, be worth $200,000 per Bitcoin. Someday it'll be worth $300,000 per Bitcoin, okay? But on the way to glory, it's going to go up and down and up and down and up and down on the way to glory, okay? And so if we can not try to time the markets perfectly, guys, we're not experts, and you're not going to sit there reading computer charts and studying financial economics and world economics all day long. You're not going to do that. So we're not trying to time the markets perfectly, but what we do is we set profit pulling markers. So right now, Dexter buys in at $65,000 per Bitcoin. Dexter says, I'm going to pull a certain amount of profit at $75,000. I'm going to pull a certain amount of profit at $90,000. I'm going to pull a certain amount of profit at $100,000. What you want to do is set those profit-taking markers, because you don't want to say, I'm going to wait until it passes 100 grand again to take profit. Does it make sense? Because it may get up to 98,000 and then go back down again. And you missed it all, okay? So pull profits, de-risk that capital, buy cash flow. Cash flow can supplement your lifestyle, which creates financial freedom. Or if you're still working and you don't need the monthly cash flow to survive on, then you can use that monthly cash flow to DCA or put back into high risk, high reward investments. And you're protecting your principal and creating financial freedom that way. So there's a plan. And that plan came from the financial myth of just buy and hold, just buy and hold. Yeah, it's a better plan than not buying any investments. Yep, cool. We don't do politics on here. This is physical fitness or financial fitness. So if you have any questions about physical fitness or financial fitness, feel free to put them down in the chat. Everything else will be ignored at this point. But on this channel, we love all people. And we don't support violence, and we don't support, taking away people's human rights, no matter where you live, no matter what race or color, age you are. We believe in treating people properly, okay? So physical and financial fitness, we're on that, and we're going over the 10 financial myths that we are taught that maybe are myths. The 10 financial myths that maybe were good lessons by our parents and grandparents, but really were not designed to make us wealthy or become financially free. So we're covering those 10 financial myths today. We've got on a couple financial myths thus far. One of the financial myths was save your money for a rainy day. We covered why that might be a myth. That your home, personal house where you live, your shelter is a good investment, a good asset to own as an investment. It's not, because a house is a liability. We've gone over that. Contribute to your 401k. Just max contribute to that 401k, and once you reach 65, you're going to be good. Maybe a myth. Could have done a lot better over those 40 years. Financially, retired much better. Markets always go up over time, so if you just sit there and wait, you'll be good. Hey, markets go up, markets go down. It's a jagged road on the way to the glory land. And so just buying and holding, I've seen a lot of people buy something, have it go way up where they've tripled their money. Can you imagine? You put $100,000 into an investment. In a year and a half, the 100 grand grows to 300 grand. You tripled your money, but let it set there. I don't know, maybe in the hopes it's even going to go up more. Maybe in the hopes you don't want to miss out on even more. The greed takes over. People let it sit there, didn't take any action. And I've seen within just another month, it go back down to the 100 grand. So they had 100 grand invested. It went up to 300,000 and then it came back down to 100 grand. And they stayed in and they rode it the whole time. So they invested 100 grand, went up to 300,000, back down to 100,000. They've made zero money. They still have their 100 grand in that investment, but that tripled at one point. You don't think it would have been smart for them to take some profits out of there and then take some of that profit, maybe 100 grand, their original principal that they invested in, maybe take their original 100 grand out, something like that. Put that 100 grand into something that secures the principal, can't go up or down, market volatility, and produces monthly cash flow for the family, still having the other and this and cash flow. Okay, so anyways, I digress. So buying and holding something just forever, and maybe someday, 20 years from now, hopefully it'll be at a certain price and you'll be able to be financially free then. Maybe not the best plan. Could be a bit of a myth. Okay? Movement of capital, as we like to say, cash flow Cash flow is what creates a really awesome financial infrastructure for people. So you can't just let the money sit and let it evaporate. Okay? We talked about that earlier. Now let's talk about this one, which is always a big controversy. Debt is bad. Being in lots of debt is a bad thing. Is that a myth? Yes or no? Being in debt is a horrible thing. Is that a myth? Or is that true? You tell me. Is debt bad? Being in debt, is that bad? Or is that a myth? Dexter said, nope. Why? Why is being in debt, why has it always been taught to us that debt is bad? Being in debt is a bad thing. Debt is only bad. I've never liked being in debt, but what's the pros to it? Good question, Codell. Debt is only bad if it's not working for you. Yes, Rod. So there's two different kinds of debt. There's two different kinds of debt. There's bad debt and good debt. And we just have to define those so that we just get away from this myth that all debt is bad. Being in debt is bad, okay? That's a myth. It depends on whether it's good debt or bad debt. Being in lots of bad debt is bad. Being in lots of good debt is good, okay? So it's not that debt is bad. So we're going to go over this, okay? So Codell said he never liked being in debt. But what are the pros to it? Well, let's define this good debt and bad debt, and then you'll understand. So bad debt is based on a consumer-driven society when people need to buy things they can't afford. So this is how society operates, guys. Most people don't even know about good debt. Most people only know about bad debt. And so bad debt is a liability to you. So when we borrow money to buy a house, which is a liability, an expense, maintenance hassle, property taxes, upkeep, liability, everything like that. We're buying a liability and we're borrowing money to do it. So what happens is it costs us money and we're paying interest to some bank or institution. So banks and institutions are getting wealthy off of us. Bad debt is consumer driven. So it's when we have a credit card to buy shit we can't afford. When we get an auto loan to buy a car we can't afford. When we get a house to buy a house we can't afford. Any of this, guys. When we finance a vacation because we can't afford to take our kids to Disneyland, but we got a credit card, so we can put $8,000 or $10,000 on a credit card and take our family to Disneyland, that kind of stuff. This is called bad debt, and it's consumer driven. And we're basically paying money monthly. And what we do, guys, when we get into bad debt is we sign up to trade. We sign up to trade future work that we haven't yet completed. Hi, BB. Hi. Hi, go ahead. Close the door. My baby's up. Hang on one second. That garage door is going to be a little loud. Time to take the kids to school. All right. So now what about good debt? Okay. What about good debt? I'm going to give you guys one example, okay? If I buy a mortgage note, which some of you know is my specialty, if I buy a mortgage note, which creates monthly cash flow, because I collect someone's monthly mortgage payment. People tend to pay their mortgages. So when I buy mortgage notes, it becomes an asset, not a liability. Something I own that doesn't require my attention, doesn't require maintenance, doesn't require expense, but it pays me every month. So when I buy a mortgage note, it's an asset that produces cash flow, okay? Now, let's just say though that I don't have enough of my own money available sitting in my own checking account to be able to go out and buy a mortgage note, which is an asset that produces net worth and produces monthly cash flow. That asset produces net worth and monthly cash flow. It's the asset, not a liability. So if I go out and buy an asset like that, and I don't have my own money in my checking account to go and buy that asset, could I find a private lender and take a loan, debt, take a loan from a private lender, then to utilize their money to buy that asset. Could I do that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Could I do that? And would I be getting into debt when I borrow money from a private lender? Am I in debt? Yes, the answer is. Could I then take that money that's debt, and then could I go and buy an asset with it? G. Wood says, I don't think so. Well, that's wonderful. At least there's one kind individual here, G. Wood, that will learn something valuable today. I love this. Learn something valuable today. Okay? If I go borrow money to buy a liability, I'm trading away future work that I haven't even done yet. I'm trading away future effort, future work in my future. I'm trading that away already, like a slave, in order to be able to pay that debt 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. Okay? So he said, I don't think so, G. Wood. So learn this, G. Wood. If I go buy a mortgage note or an asset, I just happen to be a mortgage note investor. But if you go buy an asset that's secure, collateralized, produces monthly cash flow, and comes with a really high yield return per year on money. So say if I'm able to go buy a mortgage note that yields 12% yield, okay? It yields 12% return yearly on my money, okay? Then I'm able to go and borrow the money I need for this project at 8%. So let's say I find a private lender that is happy making 8% return guaranteed on their money every year. A private lender that's okay making 8% returns yearly on their money. I borrow that money from them and I have to pay them 8% interest to borrow their money. And that makes them happy as the private lender. Then I take that borrowed money and I go buy an asset that produces a 12% yield per month. Okay? Then I am collecting a 12% yield on the money and paying out 8. Therein lies a spread. Therein lies a spread or an amount of monthly cash flow that I'm going to be receiving every month with that cash flow producing asset. And someone's message got held. I don't know why. Oh, NJ. All right, NJ. See ya. Slave bells ringing. NJ's got to go to work. All right. I don't know why I blocked that message. Oh, maybe because it said slave in it. I don't know. YouTube's funny. NJ, thanks for showing up. So that is maybe a common myth, guys. Being in debt is not always bad. Bad debt is bad. Good debt is good. How do you think, guys? How do you think? All right. Let's put it this way, right? And sorry, I'm going to take a break here and talk to you. But let's put it this way with G. Wood. So G. Wood, does G. Wood know who Grant Cardone is? G. Wood, do you know who Grant Cardone is? I suppose if people don't know who Grant Cardone is at this point, then they've been living under some sort of a rock. All right, G. Wood. So Grant Cardone, but can good debt not be dangerous? It can be, but not as dangerous as bad debt. See, look, if I take someone's money, if I take borrowed money and I go buy an asset, the asset produces enough cash flow to cover the hurdle rate with the interest I'm paying, and I'm making money off of it, they're making money off of it, it's all good, right? What if something happens? Can I sell that asset and pay them back their money? Remember, I bought an asset with the money. I didn't buy a liability. I bought an asset that's collateralized, that produces monthly cash flow. That's what I bought with the money. So I can always sell the asset to give them back their money if I have to, okay? So this, back to the Grant Cardone thing, just to make it make sense, right? G. Wood and others may understand this. Grant Cardone goes and purchases 500-unit apartment buildings in Miami, Florida, right? A 500-unit apartment complex. Grant Cardone goes and buys those. Large multifamily apartment buildings. He goes and buys those things, okay? These things are, $200 million, $300 million purchase. I mean, I'm just throwing numbers out here, guys. Grant Cardone, although wealthy, all right, and although you see Grant Cardone has a private jet and he drives a G-Wagon and all the fancies that they like to show off, okay? He has lots of money. Don't get me wrong. But Grant Cardone is not writing his own check for $300 million out of his own checking account to go out and buy these big apartment complexes. He uses other people's money, which is debt. Okay? So Grant Cardone has a fund called Cardone Capital. Grant Cardone goes out there and advertises that his specialty is buying these apartment buildings. And he has a team, the knowledge, the expertise, the know-how, and everything to find the right buildings, to do the due diligence, to make the offers, to close the damn things, and to manage the buildings. And so he's got all this skill set. His team goes and buys these apartments and runs it for profit. It's what they do. They look for investors, other people that have the money. He goes out and advertises Grant Cardone with Cardone Capital and says, hey, invest with me. Here's what we do. We can make you good money. So a bunch of people invest their money into Grant Cardone's fund. He decides to pay them a certain interest rate. He's going to pay his investors a certain interest rate for giving him their money. So he pays them a certain interest rate. Grant Cardone's case, it's very low. 4, 5, 6% interest he pays in his fund to his investors. Okay? So he borrows a bunch of money, millions and millions of dollars, that he's paying 5 and 6% interest on. He goes and takes that money and goes buys an apartment building. That apartment building might be yielding 15 or 20% per year profit. So he's taking the money, investing it at 15 or 20% per year profit, and he's only paying 5 or 6% back to his investors. Do you see how Grant Cardone gets rich off of using debt of other people's money? He's in debt to them. He's in debt and takes that and goes buys a cash flow producing asset that increases in value over time. So he is building major wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom for his own family with his skills, his knowledge, his expertise on how to do that. Other people will invest with him. So that's the difference, guys, between good debt and bad debt. I'm not borrowing money to go buy something that's a liability. I'm borrowing money to go buy something that's a cash flow producing asset. That's the difference. So is it a myth that debt is always bad? Is that a myth? Yes, it is. There's good debt and bad debt, and you got to know the difference. We can use good debt to become extraordinarily wealthy very quickly. Everybody thinks that they need to have a bunch of their own money to go do investing. Everybody thinks they have to have a bunch of their own money to go flip their first house. They have to have a bunch of their own money to buy their first rental property. They have to and then there's the stopper, right? That's a big stopper because people are thinking, man, I'm never going to have enough money to do this. Well, you're probably not because you're barely getting by month with just your bills. So how do you plan on having a whole shitload extra, saving up 20, 30, 50, 100 grand, saving it up to get ready to buy your first asset? It ain't going to happen. So use good debt. Get up your expertise and your skills and your know-how so you can go be a deal maker and get some shit done. And then go to people that have money that aren't deal makers, but they have the money. And they need a deal maker like you to put it all together. Make a win-win situation and use good debt to become wealthy. Good lesson for today. What else we got? All right, guys. We're going to break the last ones down real quick as I finish up my workout here so we can try to end on time. But here's another myth. It's necessary to take big risks in order to become rich. It is necessary to take big risk to get rich. It's a myth, guys. It's a myth. I've asked somebody the other day, I was talking to a student and I said, what do you think? Do you think it's better to spend time chasing 20% returns in a risky environment or getting 10% returns all the time with no risk? What's better, to chase 20 or 30% returns with a risky environment or to not chase returns and just earn a steady 10% on your money yearly with collateral and safety? What's better? Well, I guarantee most of the time when you compare somebody who was chasing big returns over 10 years to somebody who was getting steady returns with cash flow over those 10 years, the person who chose steady is always way ahead than the person that was chasing risk. So another myth is that you guys have to take big risks and do crazy out of the box things in order to become rich. And it's just not the truth. That's a myth. Okay? Steady wins the race in finances, guys. Protecting your principal is very important. Will Rogers had a famous quote once that said, I'm more concerned with the return of my money than I am the return on my money. Good point. Word from the wise, okay? All right, so let's see. What else can we do? We're going to throw down some triceps here while we chit-chat. And another one where we just talked about this. We just talked about this a little bit with the 401k, with the 401k fallacy, the 401k issue, is that one of the things that we're taught is that diversification is key. You know, you guys have all heard that, right? Have you guys all heard being really thoroughly and well diversified is a really good way to invest? Who's heard that myth? Who's heard the myth that being extraordinarily diversified is the way to go? You've heard that? Heck yes. True. Yes. Okay. So yeah. Oh, this weight's going to be too light for these triceps, but we'll do a little warm-up set real quick. So yeah, guys, diversification is for the uneducated. Why do I say that? I'm not trying to be a wise guy or be mean or anything like that. I'm saying diversification is for the uneducated. It means that if you don't really know what to invest in, and you really don't know why you would invest into it, whatever it is, so you don't know what to invest in, you don't know how to invest in it, and you don't know why you'd be investing in it. That's somebody who has no financial intelligence, no control over their own financial future, so they need somebody else to be in control of it. If you're having somebody else be in control of your financial future, then sure, diversification is probably smart. Because what it means when you diversify is it means that you're eliminating a lot of risk of loss, okay? But what also in turn does diversification do automatically? If you are over diversifying because you're trying to avoid risk, so you're spreading your money over a bunch of different areas and different risk categories in order to stay somewhat stagnant in both directions. So number one is diversification, they may say, is the key to safety and the key to your future because diversification is protection. Okay? True. But what other side effect does diversification have that comes with it? So if you're over diversified, can we say that that's going to eliminate some risk of loss? So is that why it's sold to us from this Wall Street and financial advisors, and it's kind of sold to us that diversification is the way to be well diversified, okay? But we said they say that because being well diversified, it allows for some feel of protection. It means that you're not going to incur any big losses because you're so diversified across so many different areas that one place could have a loss while another place has a bit of a win, and it'll counterbalance. So it could be safe, which is why it's taught by Wall Street and financial advisors. But what's the adverse of that when your money is fully diversified and under the control of somebody else that's investing your money in Wall Street? What's the big deal here is that ultra diversification, it stumps the growth. And so you don't have good returns on your money. And therefore, is it really a way to wealth? No. It's only just a little bit more of putting your money in a savings account at the bank, but on steroids, okay? So you've got the safety with the diversification, but you've also got the lack of return potential, okay? So is diversifying a good thing? It can be in some instances, but is being well diversified to try to grow wealth and really, really build some financial freedom over time? No, it's not, because with that protection of diversification, you always have the stunting of the growth. You're not going to be able to create huge returns and get any big wins when you're super duper diversified, okay? So it's just kind of like a savings account on steroids. And you know who makes a lot more money off the 401ks and a lot more money off of making sure you're well diversified? A lot more money than we do is the people that are handling those accounts. So the people on Wall Street get richer from 401ks and diversified plans. For us, it's sold to us as safety and protection, okay? But it's Wall Street that's getting richer, not us, all right? The other one is, two more, guys. One is the term passive income. I believe passive income has been very much misused for a long time now, and it's been misused in many different industries. And this illusion that passive income is easy, and this illusion that so many different things are passive. So you're hearing about people that said, oh, I'm on my 11th rental property, man. I'm getting all this passive income every month. I'm really starting to do good now. I'm on my 10th rental. And when they say I'm getting all this passive income, you got to shrug a little bit and go, oh, well, not at all. I know some people in network marketing that have done so well in network marketing that they really are wealthy and they create a lot of passive cash flow. All of a sudden, the company they were working for got under lawsuit and got shut down. They have to work their ass off now to make a scramble. Either start their own new company, go and pick another different network marketing company to bring their whole team over to, and then they got to make all the phone calls. Guys, it's a job. It's a business, period. Owning businesses where employees are working for you. And so you are owning businesses as a business owner, creating a lot of cash flow and doing better than if you were trading your own time for money. But is running businesses and employees and handling that kind of stuff passive? So anyways, I just think that the word passive and passive income has just been misused out there in the marketplace a little bit. I think it's a myth. Passive income is not easy. And passive income is not really even passive in most areas that they speak about it being passive. Okay, it's just not. It's just creating another new entrepreneurial business for yourself. You're not working for somebody else, but you're still working. And so that's why I love investing in mortgage notes, whether it's with your own money or using other people's money, because you can create real financial freedom and you can live a really passive lifestyle. The thing about a mortgage note is you're the bank. You don't have the hassles of being a landlord. You don't get the phone calls from a tenant because there's not a tenant living there. It's a homeowner. So when you buy a mortgage note, people tend to pay their mortgages. You get that cash flow. And the only time I really need to get to work is when they don't pay their mortgage. And if that's the case, I have to hire an attorney to deal with taking over the property. So it's a very good position to be in. All right. So the last one, guys, besides passive income, is that you need to have, more than $1 million in the bank to be rich. So financial myth number 10, to finish this off, you guys, is that you have to have a whole bunch of money. You got to have, millions of dollars in the bank. You got to have $1 million in the bank to be rich. It's a myth. As we discussed just a little bit ago, have we not watched that lottery television show? I don't know if you guys remember that. There was a TV show about people that win the lottery. And unfortunately, winning the lottery doesn't give anybody any financial intelligence, does it? Winning the lottery doesn't teach people what to do with money. So when they win the lottery, they all of a sudden win $3.5 million in the state lottery. And they end up with a mansion, a Ferrari, a boat, a bunch of go-karts for the family, a lifted golf cart, and a country club membership. And 3 years later, after the lottery show, when they were millionaires, they're now broke again. What does that tell you? So guys, having a few $1 million in the bank does not create riches, and it does not generally create financial freedom whatsoever. A lot of times when people are blessed with that type of money, whether it's an inheritance or a lottery win, they squander it. The money's gone quickly because there's no financial intelligence there. There's just the consumerism and the spending society we've been raised in, which was what we were talking about earlier with bad debt, consumer-driven debt. So now all of a sudden they have all this cash and they just go buy a bunch of things, okay? They don't buy investments. They don't buy cash flow. They buy things that lose value, okay? So you don't need millions, guys, to be financially free. What you really need is a certain amount of passive cash flow coming in monthly. That's what really creates freedom. So if you thought about it, if I said to most people, if I gave you $2 million tomorrow, if I just gifted you $2 million tomorrow, what would you do with it? What would you do with the $2 million? That answer that you get from most people will tell you a lot about the thought process of money and financial intelligence in today's marketplace. Somebody got $2 million. What would most people say? Most people would be like, "Oh man, I'd finally go get that big ass house I've always wanted." "Oh dude, well shit, I'd be rolling down here in a Ferrari. You know that." "Oh dude, I'd be going to get that speedboat, that river house with the..." Okay. So basically what you're going to see is that $2 million is going to be squandered pretty quickly, and you're going to end up with a bunch of liabilities that are going to still cost you money every month. So when the $2 million goes away, but you have all these liabilities that cost you money, you're going to be in bad debt, and you're not going to have the money to pay for those bills, and you're going to lose all your shit anyways. So the $2 million goes away, and all your shit goes away. That's no financial intelligence, that's all. It doesn't have to do with somebody giving you $2 million. Half of the population wouldn't have any idea what to do with $2 million if you gave it to them. They would just go spend it on a bunch of BS, and then they'd be broke again. Okay, the $2 million would have done nothing for their family tree, nothing for their financial freedom, and zero. They would have just had more cool toys for a little while for people to be envious of. "Ooh, I like your boat, I like your car," until they can't pay for them anymore and they're gone. All right, so anyways, I digress. Get off of this soapbox, guys. But you don't need millions of dollars Yeah, they'll be hemorrhaging money. Absolutely. And when people get it, they want to spend it. Woo, I get money, spend it. Get money, spend it. This is a sickness, right? Wealthy people get money and invest it. Period. They realize money's a tool. Money's not to be spent. Money's a tool. So if you use money as a tool to go dig you out more dollars, your money's working for you. If you have money working for you and the cash flow that's being produced by your money, by your assets, the cash flow is what gets spent. So when you see a lot of these guys with their fancy cars, fancy houses and this, they've accumulated enough assets. They've accumulated enough monthly cash flow that the assets they own and the monthly cash flow being spit off of their assets is what is able to pay for the Ferrari. Okay. And most people are smart with money. Rich people don't buy all these cars cash, guys, because cars are a horrible investment. Most rich people lease these cars because every 2 to 3 years, they want to change to the newest, coolest shit anyways. Okay. So most people are in a different mindset when it comes to wealth. The wealthy know that bad debt is bad, and we don't get into bad debt. We don't incur financing and debt in order to buy silly things we can't afford. What we will use debt for is we will use good debt. We will use debt from banks, individuals, private lenders, and investors, paying them a certain rate of return that they're happy with. We're going to use that money to go use our financial intelligence to invest that money into assets that protect principal, produce cash flow, and produce a spread for us to keep. Okay. And so guys, those are the 10 most common myths that we ran down today. Obviously the myth of saving money for a rainy day. Saved money evaporates. Saved money is not working. Saved money is no good in today's marketplace. The value of our dollar bill is going to decrease even more over the next 3 or 4 years when they turn the printing machine back on and create hyperinflation, separating the middle class from the wealthy even more. That's what's about to happen. Okay, so saving your money in a savings account, not a good plan. Thinking your home where you live, talking about your shelter, your home where you live is a liability, guys. A home is not a good investment. So a lot of wealthy people, they rent where they live, and then they invest all their money and buy up properties that produce cash flow. Okay, so the cash flow from the investments pays for their shelter. Okay. Just contributing to a 401k over time and having the company match that and hoping that 25 years from now, when you go to retire, you're going to be really wealthy and everything's going to be great. Myth. Could have done a lot better over that time than the Wall Street guys could have done with your money. Markets always go up over time. True, but they go up and down over time. And so depending on timing, guys, we don't want to just hope that when we retire, the markets are way up and everything works out by timing at that moment. Okay. What's up? Hey, Sophia, how you doing? We're talking about, we don't want to hemorrhage this money. We want to get rid of these myths, guys, and think a little bit differently. So buying and holding forever? No. Things go up, things go down. I've seen people ride things way up and act wealthy on paper and then watch them go all the way back down like it didn't exist. So along the way up, when you're in the markets, you set profit pulling points. Be stoic about it. Be mature about it. When it hits a certain price, don't let greed take over, guys. Pull profit, de-risk, put things into assets that produce cash flow, and then you can de-risk the cash flow. I mean, you can not de-risk. You can take the cash flow and DCA, dollar cost average, back into those riskier investments. So make sure you're pulling profits and de-risking capital along the way, guys. It doesn't just always go up. Being in debt is bad. No. Being in good debt is good. Okay, so understand what debt is and understand how to use debt. Don't just go borrow money to buy a bunch of shit you can't afford. That's bad debt. You're literally trading away future work, trading away future effort in your future. You're already trading it away like a slave when you get into bad debt. Okay, good debt, though, can start to make you money immediately. Okay, if I could borrow money today from somebody at 8%, go put it to work in an asset for 12%, next month I start making money, guys. You don't have to have a bunch of your own money to start creating financial freedom. It's a myth. Big risks are necessary. No, most people chasing 20, 30, 50% returns. You know, all the people that chased meme coins in the cryptocurrency market, most got destroyed. You hear the little stories of somebody put $1,000 into something and it 1000x and they got themselves a Ferrari. Yes, very rare, very rare. But most people that chased the meme coin game got destroyed, right? Rug pulls and all this other shit. So is it better to chase risky stuff for the potential of major wins and the excitement of that? Or is it smarter just to create something that's stable, no loss of principal, produces cash flow over time. Well, that is going to usually beat the risk taker. Okay. Diversification is the cure to a great portfolio. No, not only does it protect things, when you diversify, it protects things from major loss. But same when you diversify, it also protects things from major wins. And so you don't get very high returns. It's just a glorified savings account. And they say that 401ks and those kinds of savings plans were actually created to make Wall Street wealthier, not us. Okay. Another one is that passive income is easy. And there's all sorts of different ways to create this passive income. And it's a myth, guys. From owning rental properties to doing network marketing and stuff like that, this is all takes work. It's a business. It's a job. The one thing I found that's as passive as it can possibly be in this world is owning a mortgage note, because I don't have the liabilities of being a landlord. And most of the time people pay their mortgage, guys. If you haven't realized that, mortgage payment is one of the bills people don't like to miss. And so as I collect mortgage payments every month, it's just cash flow that comes into my bank account without any headaches. Still, is it passive? Not totally. You have to manage a portfolio of notes. You have to keep an eye on certain things with notes, right? You have to make moves sometimes. So there's a little bit of work involved, so nothing's truly passive, really, guys. Nothing's really truly passive. It's trying to locate something like I have found with mortgage notes that really does become as passive as I've ever seen, which allows you to live a lifestyle you want with cash flow coming in monthly, where you can go spend time with your grandkids. You can have lunch every day with your grandkids. You can go play golf at the golf course. You can go to the beach. You can relax. You can make your own schedule, guys. You don't have to be a slave to the system anymore, because you have passive cash flow coming in, and it's as passive as it can be. And then you don't need millions of dollars, guys. You don't need millions of dollars to be financially free. And you don't need millions of dollars of your own money to go and do something out there, okay, and start creating wealth and buying assets, okay? It's not the millions of dollars. As we've seen, people win the lottery. They get $2.5 million from the state lottery. They end up buying a bunch of cars and houses and dumb shit. All of a sudden, they're broke again 2 years later. It's the financial intelligence of what to do with money. So guys, rather than thinking you need to figure out a way to build something, to create something, and to do something like I used to, guys, I was an inventor. I tried to invent a product. I thought if I invent something the world could use, I'll be rich. True. But do you know how many people invent products that are going to change the world, and the percentage of those products that actually get to the marketplace and change the world? It's like 1% of the products. So out of 100 startup companies that have amazing ideas to help the world, one of those companies usually makes a lot of money. So that's not a good plan either, guys. It's, again, chasing the dragon and trying to be rich that way. I did that. I spent 7.5 years of my life building a company I thought was going to make me rich, and it turned out to be nothing. Okay. It died. So don't worry about chasing those millions, guys. Let's think about a way where we can start to chip away at financial freedom starting now, this month. And you can start to make little moves. Wow, like the NFL players. Yeah. So you can start to make little moves starting now. You don't need all your own money. You can use other people's money. You can use good debt. So you can do a lot of different things, guys, to start creating financial freedom right now, little by little, so that in the next few years from now, you can get away from the slavery of a 9-to-5. You can change your life. You can build a better financial future for yourself. You can do what you want to do, when you want to do, with who you want to do, and you can actually set your family up better, your wife, your kids, and those people that you care about, versus just busting our asses in the system 40 hours a week, 40 years of our life, putting all of our money into a 401k, trusting that Wall Street's going to do it for us. And then when we're 65, we're hoping we're going to have a great life and that we're going to be able to leave a better life for our kids. Hogwash. It's all a myth, guys. I'm glad you guys hung with me today to bust up some of these myths. And I wonder if let's see if it'll let me do this today. All right. So I don't know if it'll let me in, guys, but it was a pleasure. Thank you, guys. We did a little bit of shoulders. We did a little bit of chest. I'm going to continue on doing about 2 or 3 more workouts as I get off of here, but it was fantastic. Hopefully we learned something about the 10 most common myths with financial wealth building, and I'm out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning.